So I just wanted to give you guys a little quarantine update. I've been testing TickTick as of right now, but I've been wanting to try TickTick for a while now. I remember seeing it like, man, it must have been like when it came out. I don't know how many years ago that was. Never got around to it. I remember first seeing it and being like, okay, this looks great. This looks like Todoist, but they have some additional things like, calendar view and things like that. And so I was like, at the time, frustrated with Todoist, and I was frustrated just in general with productivity software. I started testing it on June 1st. So far, so good. As good as you'd expect from me, and I'm very nitpicky and super idealistic. So, in terms of comparing what we have today, I would say the UI is pretty good. The UI reminds me of a combination of Todoist and Remember the Milk. It looks like the TickTick developers basically used both of those apps as the inspiration for their app. And I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem with that at all. I like the right side panel. I like that it's always open, making use of all that extra space that's always there in other apps where you just see like the text name and then it's just like a long white space, all the way to the right side of the window. So I like that they're doing that. That's a cool thing. I love the calendar. You gotta have a calendar these days. If I were to build a task or project management app today, I think the calendar would be like on the top priority, and it's not the only priority, but it's definitely up there. Being able to view your data in multiple views, super important. I can't stress that enough. So TickTick has the calendar view. I'm really happy about that. They did a great job with that. And I really like that they let you customize the views in the left sidebar, like the default views. They let you customize those. They let you hide ones you don't need. They let you add additional ones that you might need. They let you add and remove whatever you want from that sidebar, and they also let you rearrange them, which I was surprised by. I'm so used to apps not letting you touch any of the default stuff, so that was really nice to see that. So for some negative things that I've noticed, for some reason the Mac app and the web app aren't exactly the same, and I really don't know why that is. It seems to me like it's a web-based app, like it's the same exact app. Like with the Mac app, for example, it looks like they're doing what everyone else is doing. They're like wrapping the web app in like an Electron wrapper or something like that. But for some reason, like some of the theme colors are only available like for the Mac version, but not on the web version. Like, well, that was really weird. And like the settings menu is different. And there's a couple missing features. So yeah, I don't know what that's about. Something that I've noticed slowly over time is that the UI is like very tightly squished together. And so I found myself not being able to like read the text of the task names like as quickly as I am used to doing. It takes some time to like adjust because there's like no space between the left sidebar and the middle panel where the tasks are, so everything is like really squished together. The right panel isn't as bad because there's not a lot going on there. Like you'd have to have like a ton of subtasks for it to be filled out, but they didn't really make use of padding, which is something that I actually really like about the Things app. Made use of padding. I mean, obviously if you saw my video, they made a little bit too much use of padding. Everything's a little too small. But the developers behind Things, they really understood that padding and that white space, and it's very legible. Even though the tasks are small in Things 3, like the font size is really small, I find myself still being able to read everything pretty well. So yeah, I think it just might be the space between the panels that's throwing me off. So there's been some like minor weird errors that have been happening in TickTick. I first like technically created my account like a year or two ago, and there was like this weird error where like the calendar was like showing Chinese characters for like holidays or something like that. I'm guessing it was like coming from like the Chinese language version. Those were just like kind of stuck there in the calendar for like a couple weeks, and they said they would fix it. And then I tried using the app again a little bit after that, and there was this error where like it was like this error where you couldn't like drag the projects and lists like in a certain way. Like you could drag them below them, but if you went like above them, they like wouldn't stick or something like that. It was some weird error where I couldn't like sort projects and things. So I was like, you know what, I'll let them fix this. I'll come back. So yeah, I'm finally back for the third time actually using it this month. After everything's said and done so far, I mean, we're only like, what day is it today? So yeah, June 17th. So yeah, I'm like a little bit over halfway through the month, and I'm definitely going to continue using TickTick through the end of the month. I'm probably going to stop. But yeah, I think like overall the app is very similar to Todoist and Remember the Milk, like I said. They improved on a lot of things from those two apps, but it's not that much better. And there's some new features that Todoist has added since TickTick has copied their interface. In some ways, TickTick's actually a little bit behind with Todoist. And this is something that I've talked about in another video. TickTick is only like 1.2xing what Todoist and Remember the Milk have done. So I just would like to see some more innovation. I think the calendar is great. Like, don't get me wrong, the calendar is awesome. I'm glad that TickTick was like, we should definitely have a calendar, because they were right about that. But they're not really innovating. They've been around for some time now too. They're not like a beta app anymore. So the question is, what's next? What are they going to do next? And so, anything could happen. Honestly, like anyone could come out with an app overnight. You wake up, you see it on Product Hunt the next day. But yeah, like something innovative could pop up like that overnight, and companies like Todoist, TickTick, Remember the Milk, all the other ones, they're going to be scrambling because competition is going to start to get really serious at that point. And so far that hasn't happened, and it might not happen for a while, or it could happen tomorrow. So, and speaking of innovation, there's that new email app, Hey, hey.com, from Basecamp, and I'm looking at their features and I'm like, this is amazing. And now companies like Gmail and Superhuman are going to be scrambling to basically clone what Hey is going to be doing. And, it's a little infuriating that a company like Basecamp can put in all that work and all that effort and all that time and all that courage to innovate, and then companies like Google and Superhuman and all the other email clients, and then Microsoft Outlook and all those companies, maybe even Apple's mail app, they're all just going to look at Hey and they're going to be like, hey, we're going to copy you. So it's a little infuriating. I think competition is good. I think it's going to make everyone better. But it just makes me want to point my finger and say, Google, Apple, Superhuman, you guys had plenty of time to think of these things. You had plenty of time to innovate. You've had plenty of money and funding and customers and testing and all this stuff. Plenty of resources, plenty of developers. And yet you still thought the status quo was good enough. Like, you thought it was fine. So it's going to be really interesting to see what's going to happen with that. I'm going to be following up on that whole situation. Already sent my invite in. Hopefully I get accepted soon. Fingers crossed. No, but in all seriousness though, we really need innovation in the productivity space. It's been in my opinion, it's been kind of like a nightmare. We've had a bunch of apps that are like good at like one thing or maybe two things, and it's like, oh, okay. But then you got to go to another app to find the other things you need, and you got to find a third app for the other things that those apps are missing. So, I'm sure you've been there. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And it's going to be nice to finally, hopefully one day, discover a task and project management app that has more things together. I know Notion is the hot topic right now when it comes to all-in-ones, but Notion isn't really like a task manager by default. It's more of a knowledge base. It's more of like a WYSIWYG WordPress editor for your own productivity. So it's not quite the same thing. You can do a lot with Notion, and I've been really happy with Notion. Aside from that, we really need something that's really built for project management. And so I'm going to be on the lookout. To be honest, I'm probably going to test a few more apps for the sake of helping other people who want to use those apps. Put those videos up on my main channel and whatnot. But other than that, I'm pretty much done testing task and project management apps. Unless something really innovative comes out, yeah, I'm pretty much burnt out at this point. So I think I'm probably just gonna do everything in Notion. And I'm not saying you should do everything in Notion. You can if you want to, but I'm not saying you have to. But I think I'm just going to be doing everything in Notion probably at some point this summer or in the fall, just so I can like clear my head and just like focus on like what really matters. And then eventually everything will fall into place once I have something that's actually designed for my brain. Because as of right now, it's been difficult. It's been rough. But I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, because there's obviously bigger issues going on right now. And to that I wanted to say, make sure you're still quarantining, because this pandemic is not over, and it's not going to be over for a while. So make sure you wear a mask. Make sure you use hand sanitizer, wear gloves, wash your hands, all that stuff. And we haven't even hit a second wave. We're still on the first wave. And then the second thing I just want to say is, please support the Black Lives Matter movement any way you can. If you have a little bit of money that you can donate, that would be amazing. And if you don't want to bail out protesters, there's a bunch of other foundations and fundraisers and organizations that you can contribute to for the greater good, for the greater cause in general. I'll keep you guys updated. I'm going to post another video on TickTick in a week or two. I got a bunch of other videos in the pipeline. Had some other stuff get in the way of videos on the main channel and get in the way of the Notion course, but that's still coming, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, that's it. So follow me on Instagram and Twitter for updates. DM me, at me, email me, whatever you want. Links in the description below. And until next time, stay safe and stay sane.